Hello, everybody. I am here today as a LinkedIn creator, and I'm super appreciative of the wonderful sweatshirt I recently received as being part of the LinkedIn creator community and a beta tester for the audio events. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the topics that I feel very strongly about, which is part time work, in particular, part time careers and job sharing and top sharing. And so, for people who do not know me yet, so I'm Karen Tischler, and I am basically a global citizen. I'm originally from Germany. I have lived in the UK for 9 years. I have lived in the US for 14 years. And very recently, I gained my Canadian citizenship. Here, I'm in the West Coast, so British Columbia, and I've been here for now 9 years. And because I happened to be able to speak and read German, I especially tend to see information on the Swiss, Austrian, and German market about people doing part time work beyond the entry level, either as a part time career or as job sharing or top sharing, or sometimes also called co leadership. And for the past 4 years or so, I have dedicated my time to raise awareness, especially in North America, to make people understand why part time careers are so critical to ensuring that more, especially women, caregivers, care workers, or anybody who cannot work a full-time 9 to 5 position, why part-time careers are so beneficial. And why am I so enthusiastic about this topic? Well, it is basically my own experience. When I was working in the US, I was the head of a department head, and then I had my first child. I was looking for a equivalent position, but in a flexible work manner, and I was unable to find a position. That was many years ago, and I am quite saddened, really, that here we are many years later, and still it is perceived very often that a part time position is, or that the people who are looking for a part time position are not ambitious, are not motivated, and do not have many skills. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I was very enthusiastic last week when I found Rebekah Knight's article that I actually printed out because I was so happy about it. And it is in Business Insider. And the title is Want a Part Time Job? Here is Why Corporate America Won't Hire You. And if you haven't had a chance to read her article, I very much encourage you to do so. I'm also going to put a link to the article in the comments later on. And so basically, I think to sort of summarize, despite the fact that in many countries, including North America, North American countries, there is a war for talent. Having part timers is perceived to be quite of a hassle, or because it hasn't always been like that, a difficult thing to do. And when you look at North America, in particular the US, where healthcare is pretty much hinged upon somebody working, that often leads to part timers not having health insurance. And so there is a discussion, what would one do about somebody, say, for example, job sharing? Could they have a health insurance? I recently read that, for example, here in Canada, it was decided in I think it was Metro, and they decided one of the things to attract more people, that while somebody is working on a part-time basis, they received additional health care. So I think there is a possibility, and one of the articles I read about, it said that there are healthcare organizations that in particular create new or specialized type of healthcare packages for situations like this. The other thing is that organizations are concerned because part-time might mean one has to maybe train two people. Again, often people are unaware that the concept of job sharing exists, where basically two people are sharing a job and are responsible for the job in its entirety. And very often, these two people will actually require far less supervision or time with a manager, because they have each other to ask if they have questions, and they can brainstorm solutions among themselves. And only if they might not know the answer will they then go to a manager, versus if it is a full-time position, that person might need actually more time of a manager. And so because going back to the fact that I happen to be reading German, so very recently I keep reading about organizations and people who are leading in a part-time capacity, whether that is through job sharing or being a part-time professional. And job sharing positions are available there in traditional and large organizations, such as the German train organizations, IT organizations. So it is a wide variety of companies that offer it. And so here, when I look at North America, there is a high emphasis at the moment. How can we ensure that there is no mental health issues, no burnout? And recently there was this large, how do you say it? I think it was Thrive Global that took out a page in the New York Times with many organizations that signed up on it to ensure that there is better mental health for the people in their organizations. I do not see, however, that the solution of offering part-time careers or job sharing is often discussed. And when you think about how many of the millions of especially caregivers right now are unable to re-enter the paid workforce, it is driven by the fact that there is much more scarce childcare availability right now. Also, some of the children are below the age of 5 and might simply have not been able to be vaccinated. And the other thing is that because of still COVID and the pandemic being there are often situations where people have to quarantine. So I think we really need to start looking at other ways to help the mental health of professionals. And instead of simply saying it's either full-time or nothing, why not offer something that would help professionals to be able to continue their career and at the same time be able to take care of whether that is their children, their elderly relatives, whether they are continuing with their education. So they're able to do this in a manner that doesn't lead to burnout. And because at the end of the day, if there is burnout and people leave, then when you think about the costs to retrain somebody, instead of reducing the number of hours, and also what a branding that can set. And I like to always quote Zurich, UK. When you look at what they have done for each job ad, they basically added 6 words. They said it includes part-time job sharing and flexible work. And what did that lead to? It led to many more people overall applying for their jobs across job levels and across genders. And it was meant to entice more women to apply for leadership positions. And I truly believe that also more people should start asking and saying, is it possible to have, this position in a part-time version or in a job sharing position? And I really appreciate that organizations from younger generations, such as Project Matriarchs, with their pledge for care, they really are trying to make people realize that care work is real work, and that the young professionals, when applying for organizations, that they are asking about what is it like regarding parental leave, paternal leave, and are there potentially flexible work options available, to raise awareness, so that it isn't that, when somebody asks, well, is this available in a part-time position or job sharing position, this might be the first time that somebody has ever heard about somebody asking for that on a for a position that is maybe beyond an entry-level position. Because I really feel very strongly that just because somebody is not able to work a 9 to 5 does really not mean they are less ambitious or less motivated. It simply means they physically do not have that time. And one other thing I think that often gets forgotten is that whatever the other time of the day somebody is doing things, whether that might be writing a book, whether that is doing volunteering, they're transferable business and soft skills learned from that activity that can be then applied to the main work position. And so if somebody is say volunteering and is managing or running youth groups, that skill that they learn from treating, being like a manager, can then be used in their organization. And I feel there is still far too much emphasis on these transferable skills. Now, I don't know if anybody is listening to me or watching me right now. If you have any particular questions, if you would like me to speak at your organization to share more what it means to have a part-time career or job sharing, and why this is so critical also for increasing diversity in your organization, please reach out to me. Also, as a LinkedIn creator, I run every Friday a Future of Work walk, which starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern, where I walk for half an hour and I talk about various topics related to flexible work as well as work-life balance. So if you are interested in joining me, walking for 30 minutes, talking and sharing your own experience or asking questions, please feel free every Friday. I also have the podcast, Job Sharing and Beyond, where I have more than 100 episodes and where I've spoken with people from 17 countries about flexible work, work-life balance, and one other topic that I haven't mentioned quite yet, fathers and care. Because I feel very strongly that when we talk about flexible work, part-time careers, it should be for everyone. And I would love to see many more organizations, especially large global organizations, to highlight leaders, senior leaders who are themselves taking flexible work, part-time careers, and talking about it to demonstrate that it is possible to lead in a part-time function, and especially if a male role model does that, it demonstrates that, for example, care work is really for everyone. And that is one of the reasons why I have spoken with 20 dads and dad advocates around the world in my podcast to raise more awareness. And as we are coming up to the Father's Day, I'm going to use this upcoming Future of Work walk to talk about fathers and care. So if you are father advocate, or in general would like to talk about it, I invite you to join me this coming Friday. And I will also be sure to put the link into the comments. And so I would like to say thank you again for this wonderful sweatshirt. I really feel very honored that I have the opportunity as a LinkedIn creator to share my passion and my advocacy for these topics that I feel very strongly need to be addressed far more, especially in North America and areas outside of Europe. And I was very excited to see recently that PwC had a report in the MENA countries talking about women and talking about like what will help for returns, and part-time work was also included, returnship. So I really feel there is a lot of things that are very positive going forward. And yeah, so if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. And I look forward to hopefully hearing you at my next Walk and Talk this coming Friday. Goodbye.